If you are ready to throw in the towel on your acid reflux, GERD, or LPR journey, stop right there. I'm here to help you figure out why your acid reflux has not resolved yet. And trust me, you are not alone if you're feeling frustrated with your GERD, reflux, or LPR. And the solution might actually be simpler than you think. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Molly. I'm a registered dietitian specializing in acid reflux, GERD, and LPR. I struggled with GERD for over a decade myself, and I was able to wean off of all acid suppression and reintroduce my favorite foods again, things I thought I would never be able to have, like coffee and wine. I started Flora Nutrition, my company, and this YouTube channel right here to help you overcome your symptoms and take back your health. So if you're new here, definitely be sure to subscribe for weekly acid reflux tips and content. We also release daily shorts with tons of tips and tricks to help you manage and prevent and fully heal your reflux. But in today's video, I'm going to explain some common mistakes that we see all the time that are preventing people from making progress in their reflux journey. These are a few key things that you really need to be careful of and most likely fix in order to see long-term relief. Mistake number one is following a one-size-fits-all diet approach. So if you search acid reflux, you're going to see tons of information on the internet and tons of cookie-cutter diets that make really blanket statements like all people with reflux have to avoid this food, and you should make half your vegetables cooked, half your vegetables raw, you should eat high fat, you should eat low fat. It's extremely confusing, and all of these are what I call cookie cutter diets. The truth is that everyone's reflux is a little bit different, and there is not a one size fits all approach. Sure, there are certain foods that are better or worse generally when it comes to reflux. I have 2 videos on this, the best and worst foods, so definitely check out my acid reflux playlist, watch them all. Certain foods definitely can loosen the lower esophageal sphincter and worsen reflux symptoms, or acidic foods can activate pepsin in the throat, which could really be harmful for people with LPR. But you've probably noticed that your symptoms are a little bit unpredictable. Maybe sometimes you could have a peach and be completely fine, but then other times you have that same peach and you're feeling heartburn, burning throat sensation. This is because the root cause of reflux isn't necessarily the food. And some people also have other triggers other than food. So for example, maybe the day you ate that peach was a low stress day, you were feeling calm, you were feeling safe in your body, and you had time to slow down and chew that peach really well. But then on the day that you had the symptoms with the peach, maybe you ate dinner late the night before, and maybe it was a really stressful day, and you're dealing with some emotional stress, and you also were rushed. You ate super quickly and you didn't have time to chew your food. That's a super different experience, and it sounds like there may have been some non-food triggers in that secondary situation that maybe had nothing to do with the peach. But our brain thinks, oh, it had to be the peach, and that's not necessarily true. Sometimes our food isn't necessarily the trigger, even if you have symptoms after that food. I'm gonna say that again because it's such an important concept for you to understand that even if you have symptoms after that food, it doesn't necessarily mean the food was to blame. Sometimes it's underlying root causes or even non-food related triggers like stress or eating too quickly. So anyways, these cookie cutter diets don't take into consideration your personal reflux triggers. People have personal triggers, food and non-food. Like for example, garlic and onion were not a problem for me, but caffeine I was extremely sensitive to. I had to remove caffeine from my diet for about a year's time, and I never thought I was going to be able to reincorporate caffeine into my diet. I actually have a video about this as well, but I was able to reintroduce caffeine back into my diet, and I have coffee every single day now, which I never thought was possible. But my point is, there is a level of personalization that we need to figure out for your unique triggers. In the beginning of your symptoms, when you're symptomatic all the time, it's really hard to know your individual triggers. So the first step is bringing down inflammation, reducing your symptoms, and then we start to identify through food logging, through threshold testing, where we kind of test the different triggers to understand what are your threshold amounts with each trigger food and what foods might be the most problematic or least problematic for you. Mistake number 2 that I see is cutting out way too many foods. This was a cycle that I was stuck in when I was dealing with GERD and IBS, because I would see something on the internet or I would have a symptom after a certain food and I would immediately cross it off my list, and my list of safe foods was getting shorter and shorter every single day. I ate about like 5 safe foods, and this was actually really harming my digestive health and my emotional well-being. So first of all, when you have a very short and restrictive list of foods, this actually can harm your gut microbiome because you're only getting those nutrients and those fibers from those 4 or 5 safe foods. So having a diet with low diversity can negatively impact your gut microbiome health. And secondly, when we tell ourselves, or maybe we've been told by another provider, that we can only eat these 5 foods, that creates this sense of hypervigilance and this sense of fear around food, which is actually really damaging. And it can, number one, impact our relationship with food, but it can also create a feeling of stress and anxiety around meal times that can further worsen digestion. So anxiety can negatively impact your digestive function in many, many ways, and I have videos in this, so I'm not going to get into the physiology on why, but that hypervigilance creates a lot of anxiety, which impacts mental health and digestion. So when I was eating these same 5 safe foods, I actually wasn't getting better from my reflux because I was stuck in a state of fight or flight. I was so afraid of food. I was so afraid of symptoms. I would say no to social events, and I isolated myself. And that isolation further worsened my health. So this mistake we see all the time with our clients is just really, really limiting themselves past the point of necessity. It may be necessary for you to go through a period of time where you are limiting the known acid reflux triggers. You know, things like tomatoes, spicy foods, alcohol, caffeine. It may be necessary to remove those foods so that the tissues can heal. Think of it as healing a shoulder injury. If you have a shoulder injury and you keep on shoulder pressing, it's never going to get better. So it's kind of similar with reflux. If you have tissue irritation, we do need to pause those triggers for a period of time so that your tissue can heal and reduce inflammation. So that is true. You may need to remove some of those foods in the beginning, but when you start to remove also gluten, dairy, FODMAPs, histamine foods, these layers of restriction, they make your diet even smaller, they make your world smaller, and they increase fear around food. And I actually haven't seen it to be helpful to be over restrictive. I've seen it be very harmful. Mistake number 3 is hyper focusing on what you're eating and not when you're eating. So this is neglecting meal timing. Meal timing is of the utmost importance if you suffer from reflux, GERD, LPR, if you have a hiatal hernia, if you have Barrett's, you need to think about meal timing. So that means typically eating within an hour of waking up. So you can start your mealtime schedule and then eating about every 3 to 4 hours after that first eating opportunity. You want to try to have small, frequent meals throughout the day so that you're not putting too much pressure on your lower esophageal sphincter, and that allows you to have dinner about 3 hours before you lay down. That's one of the most important things, and so this might take some planning, this may take some strategizing. If you need help, we're here to support you with one-on-one personalized nutrition plans, but you really need to make sure that you are getting that early dinner because you want your stomach to be mostly empty before you lay down. If you end up eating late, you no longer have gravity to keep the stomach contents in your stomach when you lay down. So you really want to make sure that you are eating that early dinner, and dinner ideally is not your heaviest meal. So think about your meal timing when you're planning your nutrition. Mistake number 4 is focusing too much on the disease and not enough on health. When we experience reflux, sometimes what happens is we get into this spiral of health anxiety. And I've been there, so many of my clients have been there, but we start to hyper focus on the illness and we want to learn everything about the illness and monitor everything about the illness. But here's the thing, we lose sight of actual health. We lose sight of looking at our lifestyle and thinking about, am I doing things to just support my total body health? We need to shift our focus to supporting total body health and creating a lifestyle and a body that is supportive of healthy digestion. So what does it look like to live a lifestyle that supports healthy digestion? Well, that means number 1, managing your stress better. So think about, what does my morning routine look like? What does my evening routine look like? Do I have daily systems in place to help me manage stress? So implementing for me a 5 to 10 minute meditation in the morning has been massively helpful for my mental health and my digestion. You have to, number one, think about how you're managing stress. Number two is movement. So movement is another great stress reliever, even if it's just walking, even if it's just the reflux-friendly yoga on the Flora app, whatever it is, movement. We have to support our body with this. It's important for our motility. It's important for our vagus nerve. It's essential for digestion. And number three is thinking about your sleep. So if we are sleep deprived, if we are burning the candle at both ends, this is going to impact and worsen your reflux. So we need to think about sleep in addition to nutrition, and just baseline, are you getting enough nutrition? If you're under eating, this can slow your motility and worsen reflux. I see this all the time. So it's really important that we think about baseline, am I getting enough nutrition? I had a client come to me and she had been chronic dieting for years. She had been in a calorie deficit for way too long, and she was sort of in this pattern of restricting, and then binging. And those are patterns that can significantly impact reflux. Mistake number 5 is expecting immediate results. Your body is not Amazon Prime. Your results will not come in a matter of days, most likely. For some people they do, but most likely, if you've been dealing with reflux for months, years, decades, you have to be consistent with these strategies in order to see results. So say you wake up on Monday and you're ready to change your nutrition, you're ready to change your lifestyle, but then by Wednesday, you're not seeing a change in your reflux symptoms. That's okay. We have to give it time. On average, our clients probably work with us for an average of 3 to 6 months. You know, if your body has been going through reflux for a period of time, it's going to take your body time to heal, time to reduce inflammation. And it also takes time to build these habits. Building new habits is not easy. Let's not forget that. It actually takes a lot of work and time and energy and sometimes support. So don't expect immediate results. Stay consistent in your journey and do not give up if you don't see results immediately. And mistake number 6 is not addressing the root cause of your reflux. So you might be thinking, well, I saw on my endoscopy that I had a loose lower esophageal sphincter, or I have a hiatal hernia. How would I ever address these things? And we may not be able to necessarily go in and modify those things, but what I mean here is not that we will be able to go in and fix those things, but we need to really understand your anatomy and your physiology to create an ideal lifestyle nutrition plan that helps you support your symptoms. So for example, if you have a loose lower esophageal sphincter or a hiatal hernia, we're really thinking about what are the ways we can strengthen those muscles? What are the ways that we can prevent putting excess pressure on your sphincter so it can work properly? One of the biggest reasons I see people's reflux diets failing is because they're not thinking about their root causes. And so we really have to tailor this to you, whether it is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if you have other digestive issues going on like constipation or SIBO that are worsening reflux, we need to address those. If you're feeling like lots of nausea, early satiety, maybe some vomiting, maybe we need to look into some gastric emptying testing. Is delayed gastric emptying one of your root causes? So identifying that and making changes as needed. Probably the biggest root cause that I see is actually stress. And let me just back up by saying there's often more than one root cause. Usually we have an anatomical difference that makes us more susceptible to reflux, but then there's also lifestyle factors that are worsening symptoms. So we want to address those lifestyle factors and support your body in its unique anatomy. But when it comes to stress, it's absolutely critical that we understand that stress can worsen or cause mechanical reflux. And so we need to implement strategies in your life to support stress reduction so that we can get tissue healing going and find long-term relief. So in summary, a reflux diet can fail for many reasons, including being overly restrictive, relying on generic or cookie cutter advice, ignoring meal timing or lifestyle factors that might be contributing to your symptoms, expecting quick results or quick fixes, or not thinking about the root cause of your reflux. Do not forget, we have loads of resources and videos to help you. Be sure to check out my reflux relief playlist, watch all of the videos, take notes, implement these strategies into your life, and I guarantee you will see a difference. I've had hundreds of emails from you guys saying that you've healed your reflux just by watching these YouTube videos. So make sure that you watch all of these, stay up to date by liking, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell. And if you need more support, I have a free acid reflux meal plan to help you jumpstart your reflux relief journey. Down in the description, you can download that meal plan. Be sure to comment below if you're new here. Welcome to this community, and I'll see you in the next one.